All right, with that, let's get to the big breaking development that is coming in right now. This one's coming from India. The Indian Navy has issued a fresh statement. Well, the Indian Navy has issued a fresh statement saying a distress call from IRIS Dena was received at the MRCC Colombo in the early hours of the 4th of March, as reported by the Sri Lankan Navy. The Indian Navy says that it promptly launched its search and rescue efforts, commencing with a long-range maritime patrol aircraft to augment the search efforts led by Sri Lanka. It also goes on to say that another aircraft with air-droppable life rafts was kept standby for immediate deployment. INS Tarangini, which was operating in the vicinity, was deployed as well for aiding the rescue efforts, and it arrived in the search area by 1600 hours, that's 4 p.m. on the 4th of March. By this time, the search and rescue had been undertaken by the Sri Lankan Navy and other agencies. INS Ikshak had also sailed from Kochi to augment the search efforts and continues to remain in the area to search for the missing personnel as a humanitarian measure for the shipwrecked personnel. Coordination with the Sri Lankan side on the search and rescue efforts is still underway. That is what the Indian Navy has stated. Remember, at least 87 have been killed and 61 are missing after a US submarine struck and sank the Iranian warship IRIS Dena in the Indian Ocean off the Sri Lankan coast. The attack is being regarded as one of the biggest losses for the Iranian Navy. But now this latest statement coming in from the Indian Navy saying that we are assisting Sri Lankan Navy in terms of search and rescue operations on the humanitarian grounds is what the Indian Navy has released its statement on. The launch of search and rescue operation was done promptly after the distress call was received from IRIS Dena on the 4th of March. Remember, this is the big statement that has come in from Indian Navy. This happened yesterday when IRIS Dena was torpedoed by a US submarine, and now Indian Navy says that we had the preparation for rescue and relief, but till the time our vessels, our ships reached the spot, the Sri Lankan Navy was already carrying out those search and rescue operations, and now we're assisting them. That's what the Indian Navy is saying, that they received the distress call from IRIS Dena and now we're assisting them. We've got our Foreign Affairs editor Siddhant Sibal joining us on the phone line at the moment. Siddhant, this big statement now coming in from Indian Navy as far as the humanitarian measures being undertaken are concerned. The Indian Navy working in close coordination with the Sri Lankan Navy.
Statement by the Indian Navy. We know all throughout the day there was a lot of chatter, of course, a lot of criticism as well. But clearly that criticism gets doused now with a long statement detailing the Indian Navy's role as to how it launched a long-range maritime patrol aircraft at 10 a.m. Then, of course, it had deployed its warships as well. In fact, 2 warships were deployed to the search area and had cooperation with the Sri Lankan side on a regular basis. Now, of course, we know that all throughout the day there were developments in Delhi and in Colombo. In Colombo, we saw how the matter was raised in the parliament with the government there not only giving details about the incident but also saying and confirming that there is another Iranian vessel in Sri Lankan waters. In India, of course, we saw the Iranian ambassador speaking at length. In fact, he spoke to WION as well, detailing, of course, how this incident is deplorable. And Iranian side has been saying that this is uncalled for, deplorable, given the fact that this vessel was not carrying any weapons. It was at the host, the request of the Indian side that it was taking part in the exercises of the coast of Visakhapatnam. But clearly, this is something that has shocked the region. Of course, Indian side and the Sri Lankan side were in touch to save the Iranian sailors.
All right, Siddhant Sibal, thank you very much for joining us and getting us more details.